Okay, all good. So welcome everyone to week 3 of the 28-day challenge. So I'm excited about this session because today we're looking at something that affects absolutely every aspect of your health, and that is obviously your metabolic system. So today we're going to be breaking down different types of exercise to discuss basically how well your hormones and your blood sugar is regulated, and also as well explain how each and every different types of exercise can actually help you strengthen your metabolic health. So hopefully by the end of today's presentation, you'll also begin to understand why these strategies work and more importantly, how you can implement them more long term into your lifestyle. Okay, so again, we'll just recap a little bit about what metabolic health is, just in case you've missed out on some of the earlier sessions. So, when we talk about metabolic health, we're describing obviously our body's ability to take food that we eat and its ability to convert it into usable energy. So, think of it like the efficiency of essentially your internal engine. So, the better that your engine runs, the more energy you have, and the easier it is for your body to maintain a healthy weight. So when your metabolism itself is actually efficient, you don't feel sluggish and you also don't tend to get that sort of afternoon slump or that 3:30-itis or 3:30 p.m. slump. And your body will tend to also handle stress a lot better as well. And on the other hand, or the flip side, when your metabolism is struggling, even things such as healthy habits can feel very hard to stick to because your body simply isn't producing energy as effectively. So also as well, metabolism incorporates a few things such as blood sugar control, hormone balance, the function of our mitochondria, which is essentially the little power stations inside our cells, and then also as well discussing how muscle mass and metabolic rate actually impact our metabolism. But we'll focus today more so on our exercise because this was a topic that was covered in week 1 in more detail. So if you are a little more information about what metabolism actually is, please look back at our week 1 presentation. So the importance of exercise is essentially what we'll be discussing overall today. So exercise as a whole is important because it builds on a lot of the following dot points here. So exercise, especially resistance training and walking, can actually make our cells more responsive to insulin and therefore improve our insulin sensitivity. So this actually means that our body requires less insulin to manage our blood sugar, which actually is quite important because high insulin levels can promote fat storage and also inflammation in the body. And when we improve insulin sensitivity, our body can actually become more efficient at burning fat for fuel instead of storing it. So, this is one of the reasons why exercise is very effective for long-term weight management. In terms of metabolic flexibility, what this refers to is our body's ability to switch between burning carbs and burning fat, depending on what is available. So, a flexible metabolism essentially means that when you haven't eaten for a few hours, your body is able to transition into using stored fat for energy. But when you become a bit inflexible with your metabolism, you can become reliant on carbs and start experiencing crashes, cravings, mood swings, etc. So with exercise, particularly things such as steady movement like walking or zone 2 cardio, this can actually teach your body to become more adaptive and therefore improve the flexibility in its metabolism. When we talk about increasing the number and the volume of mitochondria, this actually refers to certain types of exercise, literally telling your body to build more mitochondria, which therefore increases your capacity to produce energy in the body. So over time, these certain exercises lead to better balanced energy, better endurance levels, and also an increased ability to burn fat. And it's one of the reasons why physically active people often feel more energized, even though they're doing the exact same tasks as someone else who may lead a more sedentary lifestyle. So a good example might be bringing the groceries from the car to the house and walking up the stairs, for example. Someone who leads a more physically active lifestyle might find that sort of level of activity quite easy to manage. And someone who leads a more sedentary lifestyle, even though that might be about, 20, 30 steps in total, they can find that lifting heavy grocery bags, walking up the stairs, etc., can actually be a very physically demanding task. In terms of reducing inflammation, Chronic inflammation can slow down our metabolism and disrupt our hormones, and also therefore contribute to fatigue as well. Exercise is known to help reduce inflammation by stimulating the release of anti-inflammatory molecules from our muscles. And these molecules actually help us to repair tissue, regulate our immune system, and even improve our mood as well. So things such as light movement can actually help bring our body into a less inflamed state. And in terms of appetite regulation, exercise can impact hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin and restore more natural hunger cues as well. So when we move more regularly, we're less likely to experience intense cravings or emotionally triggered hunger. And people also tend to feel more satisfied after eating meals because their body becomes better at sensing when it's had enough food. And that can actually be a huge win for sustainable habit building as well. Muscle is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body as well. So, muscle itself actually burns more calories than fat, even when you're sitting still. So, that means every kilogram of muscle that you build actually works for you around the clock, essentially. So, even when you're relaxing on the couch, watching your favorite movie, or sleeping, it actually helps to burn more calories when you're resting compared to if you had a higher body fat percentage. So building muscle isn't just about aesthetics as well. It's actually about equipping your body with metabolic machinery it needs to stay healthy in the long term. In terms of a higher resting metabolic rate, when we talk about resting metabolic rate, this essentially refers to determining how many calories your body can burn simply to keep you alive. So when you have more muscle, this baseline energy can actually increase, making it easy to manage your weight without constant dieting. And essentially, muscle can help increase your metabolism as a direct result. Muscles can also act like a giant storage tank, essentially, for glucose. So, the more muscle that you have, the better you are at managing your blood sugar levels because those muscles actually absorb glucose more efficiently. And that means fewer spikes, fewer crashes as well, and also better long-term blood sugar control. And in terms of anti-inflammatory benefits, muscles actually release anti-inflammatory proteins called myokines, and these help reduce whole body inflammation and also help to support the immune system and even helps to benefit your brain health as well. So that's one of the main reasons also why physical activity is linked to lower rates of chronic disease. And from around age 30 onwards as well, we naturally will start losing muscle with each decade unless we actually actively work to preserve it as well. So this loss is one of the major reasons why, I guess, as people age, their metabolism can slow down. So strength training, therefore, is really important by helping you prevent that age-related decline. So we'll have a look at resistance training in a little bit more detail to better understand what it actually is and also what it can actually assist with as well. So resistance training is known to not just build muscle, but to also improve the quality and the function of your cells. So basically, each time you challenge your muscles, you end up sending a signal to your cells to produce more mitochondria. And this in turn helps to improve the efficiency of the ones you already have in your cells. And that means that your metabolism overall can actually improve as well. And when we train our muscles, they tend to pull more glucose from the bloodstream to use as energy. And this effect continues even after you finish exercising as well, meaning your body can become more effective at managing blood sugar with lower amounts of insulin. And this improvement in insulin sensitivity is one of the most powerful benefits of strength training. And resistance training also as well creates little tiny tears in your muscle fibers, and your body works to rebuild them to make them stronger. But it cannot do that without the right nutrients. So protein in particular is essential for rebuilding muscle. So when your diet supports your training, you'll see lasting improvements in both your muscle tone and also your metabolic health as well. Now, in terms of resistance training recommendations, on average, we'll be looking at around 2 to 3 sessions per week. So this is typically sort of a sweet spot for most people. It's enough frequency to sort of simulate strength gains and also build muscle, but it's also spaced out enough to allow for proper recovery. So you don't need to train every single day. We're not all elite athletes by any means, or not all of us have the capacity to go to the gym 24/7, but recovery days are actually where the real muscle building actually happens. And full body movements like squats or deadlifts, and also any other sorts of exercises that involve using core muscle groups across the entire body. These movements help you give more metabolic bang for your buck, essentially, because you're strengthening your entire body and you're also mimicking real life movements. And they're also things that are quite time efficient as well. So you end up working out a lot more muscle groups in a shorter capacity of time. With slow, controlled repetitions, this helps us increase muscle activation and reduce the risk of injury, and also help create more tension in the muscle, which is exactly what stimulates growth. So when you move too fast, you can actually miss the opportunity for the muscle fibers to do the work. And also focus on your form, not just heavy weight as well. So a good technique ensures you are strengthening the right muscles and also protecting your joints as well, and therefore preventing risk of injury. So it's far better to actually increase the weight later and to actually lift lighter initially with better technique than to lift heavily and compromise your form and put yourself at risk of injury. In terms of NEAT, this is another form of, I guess, physical activity that maybe a lot of us don't actually consider to be physical activity. But NEAT essentially refers to a few things. It stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and it incorporates a few of the things like walking, standing, fidgeting, household chores, incidental activity outside of your workouts. So just sort of things that we do day to day to fill in those gaps. So walking itself is actually a low stress and accessible form of physical activity. And it can help you to lower your blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and also improve your mood as well. And it's something you can easily incorporate into your day without needing extra time or equipment. So even just walking actively in your office, if you work in an office, or even if you decide to take public transport and get off a stop earlier than usual, that additional walking can definitely help you with boosting your metabolism. Standing as well is also something that helps to counteract the metabolic slowdown that comes with periods of sitting for a long period of time. So a few minutes each hour can actually help to activate your muscles, improve your circulation, and also boost your energy levels as well. So even having things like a standing desk can have a big impact, or simply taking desk breaks as well during the day if you work. With fidgeting, this might sound a bit silly, but things such as tapping your foot or shifting your posture can actually help you to burn calories and to also increase your circulation as well. So these little small movements, which most of us, again, probably wouldn't consider to be exercise or physical activity, these little things actually add up over the day and can actually help contribute more to your total energy output than most people realize. Because if you're fidgeting throughout the entire day, every single small movement that you make, even if it's a little foot tap or fidgeting with your hands, whatever it is, that can actually involve burning calories. Things like housework, like cleaning up, tidying up, carrying laundry, all of that counts as well. Housework, depending on the type of housework that you're doing, can obviously elevate your heart rate and also engage different muscle groups as well, meaning that you're turning these little mundane regular tasks into tasks that actually help to boost your metabolism. So you don't have to work out necessarily for your movement to have value with improving your metabolism and supporting your health goals. And in terms of incidental activity, these are things that you just do naturally throughout the day. Walking down the stairs, walking to the bus, carrying groceries, those sorts of things. So adding little small bits of incidental activity can help to obviously improve your metabolic health without it feeling like exercise or like a workout. And the reason why NEAT is quite important is because when you frequently move your muscles, this obviously helps to clear glucose from your bloodstream more effectively, and therefore helps to prevent spikes and dips in your blood sugars and reduces the burden on your insulin. And also steady uh, low level movement or low impact movement can actually teach your body to use fat for energy more efficiently. So when you improve fat oxidation, you rely less on carbohydrates and you can become more metabolically flexible as a result, meaning you can shift from prioritizing carbs as the main energy source to also being able to burn fat as well. In terms of regular light movement, this can help you to regulate your hunger hormones, meaning that you're less prone to overeating. So NEAT can actually help you keep your energy levels stable so that your body doesn't confuse fatigue with hunger, and it can make it easier for you to listen to your natural hunger cues as a result. And long periods of sitting, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, slow down your metabolism and can also decrease your calories burnt. So NEAT can actually help to counteract this by reactivating muscles and also stimulating blood flow as well. So as a result, even a few minutes of movement in terms of NEAT can actually make a big noticeable difference in terms of calories burned and also metabolic health in the long term. In terms of recommendations for NEAT, 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day is a realistic range that helps to support heart health, blood sugar control, and also fat burning. So you don't need to hit it all at once. So no one's saying that you need to go for a 2 hour, 3 hour walk to smash out 10,000 steps in one go. You can actually spread your steps out throughout the day. So it's more, again, about consistent movement rather than long exercise sessions. Walking after meals, so even like a short walk after a meal can significantly reduce your blood sugar spikes. So this again can help you feel more energized and also help you reduce cravings later in the day. And again, is a simple strategy that you can attribute to habit building as well, because you can associate eating a meal and walking with one another and therefore easily implement it. In terms of standing, obviously breaking up your sitting time can help you re-engage your muscles, as I mentioned earlier, and essentially awaken your metabolism. So you can again set a reminder or pair it with a task like making tea or stretching. So these little interruptions to your day when you're sitting can obviously keep your metabolism active all day long. And again, with intentionally increasing your incidental activity. So if you know you're about to have a more sedentary day, be intentional about adding small movements, such as stretching, pacing during phone calls, or even doing a few squats when waiting for the kettle. Even a few stretches, all that sort of stuff can absolutely help you as well, increase your NEAT. With zone 2 cardio, so this is essentially defined as a low to moderate level intensity form of aerobic activity, which is suitable for long periods of time and uses approximately 60 to 70% of your heart rate. So a simple way for you to know that you're in that zone 2 range is the talk test, which means that you can talk, but you probably can't sing. So if you're gasping for breath, you've probably gone too high with your heart rate. So a conversational pace is ideal for building that metabolic efficiency. And with zone 2 exercises, your body relies heavily on fat for energy. So this teaches your body to become better at fat burning in everyday's life. And it's the metabolic zone that most people end up underusing, but actually has huge benefits as well. And with sustained gentle cardio, this helps your mitochondria produce more energy more efficiently and can lead to better stamina, less fatigue, and improved metabolic health. So over time, as you continue with more zone 2 cardio, this can help your body become more efficient at energy producing. And in terms of this intensity, as I mentioned, like I said, you should be able to do it for a long time without burning out. And it's generally quite gentle on joints, reduces stress, and also helps with improving your cardiovascular health. So with zone 2 cardio as well, as I mentioned, it helps to improve fat metabolism and mitochondria, but it also helps to reduce your cortisol levels as well. So unlike high intensity workouts, zone 2 workouts can actually help to calm the nervous system, and as a result can help you lower cortisol, reduce stress, and also improve your recovery. So this can actually be a really helpful tool for individuals who do feel quite burnt out or feel quite overwhelmed or anxious with their current life circumstances. So it can be a good tool to use for relaxation as well. And HIIT is another form of exercise. So its abbreviation essentially translates to high intensity interval training. So this is a type of exercise that alternates between short bursts of high intensity movement and a period of recovery or low intensity movement. So it's sort of shifting between the two levels. So HIIT obviously involves you pushing your body close to its limit for a short duration. So these sorts of more intense bursts in activity can help you challenge your cardiovascular system and also help you build strength and also power as well. And because they're often of a short duration, you're usually able to work harder than you would in a steady state exercise. And in terms of insulin sensitivity, high intensity intervals help to drive help to drive sugar, sorry, into your muscles more quickly. And this helps to improve insulin sensitivity both immediately after and over time as well. So it's particularly beneficial for anyone with blood sugar concerns, such as diabetes or someone who's at risk of pre-diabetes. And HIIT compresses a large amount of energy expenditure into a shorter window of time. So if you are short on time, it's a great way to get a productive workout. But because it is intense in nature, it also shouldn't be overdone. And the recovery periods are also what allow you to push harder in the next interval as well. So the contrast between effort and rest creates this unique metabolic benefit of HIIT. So the pattern itself is essentially what makes HIIT quite effective. In in terms of the resistance sessions, so the 2 to 3 resistance sessions is essentially what we would be aiming for in a 7-day week. So these sessions form the foundation of a strong, efficient metabolism. So spacing them out can help you with recovery and also muscle growth. So the goal is to consistently stimulate the muscles without overwhelming them. With daily walking and NEAT, this is something that you can achieve day in and day out. So walking and incidental movement can help keep your metabolism running smoothly all day. So things like low stress activities help you obviously improve your blood sugar, reduce your inflammation, and also support your fat burning as well. So all these sorts of exercises like walking and NEAT are often very simple, but also effective as well. And aiming for 2 to 3 zone 2 cardio sessions can also be beneficial as well, because this helps you to improve your endurance, strengthen your heart, and also train your body to burn fat more efficiently. And they also help you to balance stress hormones and support recovery from strength training. So it's all about keeping, again, a steady, sustainable pace when you do zone 2 cardio, as you should be able to maintain a conversation and also as well not get your heart rate up to 60 to 70% as well. And one optional HIIT session is also a bonus if you enjoy intensity, as this can provide a great metabolic boost, but more isn't always better, as too much HIIT can obviously increase your stress hormones. So think of it as more like the cherry on the top, not the base of your routine. So as a whole, your foundation of, like, I guess some key exercise strategies to support your fat loss and muscle preservation should be to focus on daily walking and NEAT, 2 to 3 resistance sessions a week, and also 2 to 3 zone 2 cardio sessions as much as possible. So in summary, building muscle helps to improve your metabolism, because muscle is essentially an engine that keeps your body burning energy even at rest. All types of exercise and movement play a role in supporting your metabolism. So whether it's strength, whether it's cardio or NEAT, each one of these types of exercises offers unique benefits. So when you combine them all, you get a powerful, well-rounded metabolic advantage. With zone 2, this helps you build efficiency by improving your ability to use fat for fuel, and helps you to also reduce stress and build your energy system. So it's definitely a very effective form of exercise if it's something that you're interested in incorporating. And also, too much HIIT or high intensity interval training can increase your stress hormones. So whilst it is great because of the high intensity, it's really something that you should only be incorporating in moderation, because it can lead to burnout and also elevated cortisol levels, which may slow progress as well. And consistency is key. So that's a phrase that you probably heard multiple times, but it's much more important than the intensity, meaning that you don't need to push super hard every single day. And what matters most is really just showing up regularly, because your metabolism loves routine and structure. So we'll pass it on to Kate for a Q&A. So if there's any questions that you have, feel free to put them in the chat and Kate will be able to answer them.
Thank you. Lots of good information there, Wendy. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat if you go to the chat at the top. And I know we had some sent in last Friday as well. So, oh, here we go. How long should I be exercising, and is there a best time of the day to exercise? So I guess at the end of the day, doing something is the key, moving as often as you can. So the goal would really be to try and mix up the different types of exercise. So particularly, as Wendy said, the strength training is the absolute number one for maintaining metabolic rate. Doing your aerobic exercise is good for metabolic health, so actually taking sugar out of the bloodstream, reducing insulin resistance, improving type 2 diabetes, but you'll find that your strength training will have longer term benefits. So that's pretty non-negotiable, particularly for helping with balance and longevity. There's even studies to show that the size of your muscles is linked to the size of your brain or your brain volume. So really critical there to keep building muscle mass where you can. Now, have we got any other questions? Oh, what's the best time of the day to exercise? So I'd say they're probably focusing on whenever you're most alert and motivated, because if you try and exercise at the time of the day that maybe you're in a rush or you have low energy, then you're not going to get the most out of that workout. You'll be doing it just to get through it. You should really try and exercise when you're at the height of your energy levels, and obviously at a time when you're going to get the most benefit as well. So for a lot of people, that's first thing in the morning because it will energize them for the rest of the day. However, you need to be mindful as well that on this challenge, you might be having less calories than you would usually have. So time your food and your exercise carefully. You want to make sure that you are eating after a workout if you're doing that workout first thing in the morning. And you might want to have something small before you do your workout if you're someone that finds your blood pressure drops a little bit or blood sugar levels drop as well. But if you're doing more moderate exercise, you should be able to get it through it without it really being too much of a change to normal routines. I'm finding my energy is up and down. If I'm tired, should I exercise? Key thing there is probably to make sure that you're actually getting really good sleep. If your energy is up and down, only exercise when your energy is up, because if you're exercising when your energy is down, there's a pretty good chance you might have an accident or you're not concentrating, particularly if you're doing strength training. Whereas if it's just walking, most of the time, if you're feeling tired and you get out into the sunlight and go for a walk in the fresh air, your energy levels will pick up anyway. So I'd say if you're feeling tired, still go for a walk, but doing things like the gym or classes or something that requires a bit more concentration, keep to the time of the day when you're most alert. I've hit a plateau. My measurements are going down, but my weight isn't. It's still good, but I'd like to see the weight start to move again. Will exercise help? Should I focus on cardio? Great question. I wish we had the ability to do your body composition testing, Nicole, because what you'll find is the first 2 to 3 kilos that you lose on the program is definitely water mass because you're reducing carbohydrate intake. Once that 2 to 3 kilos is gone, you'll find you're then burning body fat. Body fat is very slow to burn, but it actually takes up a lot of space in the body. So the best way to think of water mass or muscle mass is like little heavy shot put. So if you were standing on the scales and I gave you a little shot put, your weight would go up very quickly. But if we put a tape measure around that shot put, it's small. When you're losing body fat, if I gave you a basketball and you stood on the scales, your weight on the scales won't change a lot because they only weigh a couple of 100 grams. But if you put a tape measure around it, it takes up a lot of space. So what you're seeing happen is you've got rid of all the water mass now, and now you'll be burning body fat, which is very hard to see on a typical scales. You'll see it with body composition measurement scales if you've got bioelectrical impedance. Some people have home scales that do body fat. They can be unreliable, but if you do them at the same time of day in an exercised or not exercised state, in a hydrated state, after going to the toilet, those sorts of things, they can be reasonable for comparison. But I would definitely say if you feel like you're in a plateau, it's because you're now in that fat burning state, which is slow but really effective. If you're seeing size change, I would just keep using tape measurements. Weight will eventually follow, but if you're eating more protein, you're maintaining muscle better. If you're hydrating well, you're probably retaining some water in that muscle, which is heavy. And if your size is going down in terms of girth measurements, then it's definitely body fat changes. And that's the big difference. And weight will follow, but it won't be a lead indicator when it's body fat loss. It'll be a later thing with body fat loss. In terms of which exercise, look, you really want the combination. Keeping your steps up is the best thing you can do because you're metabolically active a lot more. So making sure you're keeping your steps up. And in terms of which type of exercise, anything that pushes you to your limit, whether that's cardio, strength, or HIIT, if you get to the point of absolute fatigue, your body will progress. If you're doing the mild, moderate stuff, that's good for overall just keeping the metabolism going. But if you want to see changes, no matter whether it's strength, cardio, or HIIT, if you go to that maximum where you can't go anymore, you will find you'll get some additional changes because it's all about challenging the body, taking it out of that comfort zone. And this will go back to metabolic flexibility, which is what Wendy referred to. It teaches your body how to adapt. And then it'll go between burning carbohydrate and burning body fat, with the goal being burning body fat for the majority of the day now that the carbohydrate intake is low. What else have we got there? Another question popping up. Can I exercise or alone, or do I need to join a gym? Where can I get the Zone 2 cardio and HIIT exercise resources? So yeah, absolutely. You can do it at home. My favorite way to really do a HIIT exercise workout is to find some stairs or a hill near your house. You might have them in the house, around the corner, somewhere like that, or even walking along sand if you're anywhere near the beach. You'll find that if you've got an incline that you can walk up as fast as you can, or if you're someone who likes to jog up it, that is the easiest way to get your HIIT. So HIIT is specifically about having the hardest burst of exercise you can have for maybe 30 to 60 seconds maximum, and then recovering for at least twice that time generally. So if you're doing a really hard burst of whether it's an incline, steps, or it could even be speed, you could be doing it on a stationary bike, or you could be walking and then jogging for 30 seconds, but that 30 seconds has to be an all-out effort where you're completely breathless, and then let the body recover for as long as it takes to get your heart rate back down. So that recovery could be 30 seconds for someone who does HIIT training a lot, but more often than not, it's going to be 60 to 90 seconds for every 30 seconds of that really high intensity exercise you do. And in terms of zone cardio, it's anything where you can still talk, but you can't sing. So if you can find somewhere hilly to walk, or if it's a flat walk, increasing the pace. And if you pace limited, then you could actually use the little leg weights or hand weights, or carry something. You'll find having things in your hands will get your heart rate up much quicker as well. Or in your loop where you do your walk, find a little incline or some steps that you can do, and that'll help get the heart rate up and keep you in that higher zone. Can I add extra snacks if I'm doing more exercise than usual? I would just suggest keep to the meal plan that you've got, but time your snacks around your exercise. So if you're doing this because you're looking to change body fat, then keep your total food intake similar. Just change the timing of when you have those snacks. You might find that to actually feel like you've got enough energy to do the exercise, you have a snack before you go, or you might have a snack after the session, which will avoid that catch-up eating, because exercise will suppress appetite, but then 2 hours later, or 1 to 2 hours later, depending on how your blood sugar levels sort of track, you'll find you'll get a really insatiable hunger. And that's where I'd say sometimes eating straight after the exercise will stop that insatiable hunger a couple of hours later, or time that you're going to have a meal after exercise within that sort of 1 to 2 hours before the appetite's too insatiable, that the smaller meals won't really cut it. And that's where you really want to bulk out your meals with your 2 to 4 cups of low starch salads or steamed veggies or anything in your recommended extras list that's in the user guide and on the website. Can I add extra snacks? Yes. Is it normal to feel emotional on the challenge? Absolutely. There's many reasons for this. So firstly, when your blood sugar levels are coming down as well, if you're someone who's had a bit of insulin resistance or pre-diabetes or diabetes, you feel comfortable when they're up. When they go down, it can cause a little bit of anxiety. When you're reducing your total food intake, particularly carbohydrate, induces a chemical called dopamine, and dopamine's our pleasure reward chemical. And when we take that carbohydrate out, our mood can drop. So then we need to find other things to stimulate the dopamine. Exercise can help with it, sunlight can help with it. So just trying to be mindful of things that bring you joy or pleasure. And it could be something like, literally, if you've got a favorite book or a magazine or something that you like doing, it could be a bath or putting on a candle or a scent or something like that. Be mindful to think of what little moments of joy can I bring back in, because you'll have a drop in mood due to pulling out carbohydrate, because it's a pleasure food. Now, we're wired to want that carbohydrate historically, I guess, because we had to seek out food as hunter-gatherers. So we're always wired to seek out carbohydrate, which is a negative now that we're surrounded by food all the time. So just retraining the brain that we don't need that carbohydrate. And you'll find if you're eating protein between meals, or enough protein during the day, that has a appetite suppressing effect too, because you're meeting your needs. And the other trick would be, sometimes when you think you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. So the body can't tell the difference between hunger and thirst. And that is because in the past, we may not have had access to water. So then we could eat fruits and berries and other watery plant products to meet our hydration needs. So maybe make sure that you're well hydrated first. Have a glass of water. And if you're someone that finds you get a bit dizzy after exercise, you might want to put a hydrolyte or something in it to get some electrolytes and replace the salts, particularly if it's a warm day or you're sweating. Whilst on the 28-day challenge, doing the prescribed exercise, what outcomes can I expect? Will I have more energy? Will I reduce my HDL cholesterol and blood pressure? So if you have a look on the website, there's a heap of customers that have put their testimonials and their results. You'll see them on our social media as well. So some of the most common things we see, even within the first 7 days on the challenge, people report more energy. And that's because you go from burning purely carbohydrate and having these up and downs to blood sugar levels, to having more steady blood sugar levels because of the production of ketones. Ketones come from on-beef food when you're burning body fat. So it takes about 2 to 4 days to effectively reduce that carbohydrate level, see that couple of kilos shift in water mass. And then when you're burning body fat, your ketone levels are very steady energy. They're actually the prime or the main energy source in babies when they're growing from the age of 0 to 2. They're predominantly using ketones because that's how they grow, they balance out their energy. So ketones by no means are harmful for us. They're a really good, clean energy source. The brain can use them, the body can use them. They're just a slower energy source than carbohydrate, and that's why our bodies are quite addicted to carbohydrate, and that's what we're trying to undo, to use any excess body fat we're looking to burn. In terms of HDL cholesterol, if you're exercising and eating BeFit food, both of those things will have a positive effect on HDL cholesterol. HDL is what we know as your good cholesterol, your healthier cholesterol, and exercise boosts HDL cholesterol. And with BeFit food, because we're reducing some of the less healthy fats and increasing some of the Mediterranean healthier fats, you'll see a boost in HDL, hopefully. And blood pressure is something we see change very quickly because our foods are low sodium. So if you are on any medications for blood sugar, definitely speak to your doctor, because you will find a combination of lower salt foods plus losing weight reduces your need for blood pressure medications. Some people go to half, some people come right off it, but it is really speaking with your doctor about that. But if you do feel dizzy, weight loss will lower blood pressure quite quickly. And any other questions there? Thinking ahead after the challenge, what's a good way to ease back into eating my own food? I would suggest the first habit to start, if you haven't already whilst on the program, is to make sure with every meal, try and have your 2 to 4 cups of low starch veggies or salads. Even at a breakfast, if you were to have a handful of cherry tomatoes or a couple of bites of a carrot or celery or cucumber, or if you're cooking eggs, put a handful of spinach or asparagus, or have some sort of vegetable with your breakfast meal. And then at lunch and dinner, try and have your 2 to 4 cups of low starch veggies and salads. So there's a list of those in the recommended extras on the website and in our user guide. And if you don't have it, we can email it to you as well. Should I continue my exercise beyond the challenge? Exercise is for life, and that's a really good way to have weight maintenance. So there's not many studies around the world that show that exercise actually gives you weight loss, but exercise does effectively maintain weight loss and body composition changes. So for long-term results, you want to continue exercising after the program. You'll find your weight changes and body fat changes happen very quickly with the food, but to sustain them and to stop weight regain, the exercise keeps the weight off longer term. And if there's any other questions, feel free to pop them in. Can you have another dietitian consultation? Yes. So if you want to speak to the dietitian again during the challenge, just make a booking online. We're very happy to see you as often as you need during the challenge, because I think the way to get the best results is definitely to be asking questions, seeking support, and just getting tips and tricks, particularly if you find your energy is dropping or your weight's not moving, you've hit a plateau, then having a chat to the dietitian will help. Do I need to walk after every meal, and how long does this walk need to be? Ideally, yes, if you can walk after every meal, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes, you'll blunt your blood sugar levels by about 50% with a 10 to 20-minute walk after a meal, which means less fat storage, because after a meal, you get a rise in insulin, the fat storage hormone. If you walk after the meal, you reduce that fat storage hormone, you will speed up your results. So if you can, a short walk after every meal. And if you can't walk after every meal, I'd encourage you to definitely do it mid-afternoon or after dinner for a short walk, because anything that you can do towards the end of the day will really help to make sure overnight you start getting back into that ketosis in your fast while you're sleeping. So it'll help you get to that fat burning state much quicker before you go to bed, and then you'll stay in that fat burning state overnight until you wake up the next morning and until you have your first meal for the day. Excellent. Well, thank you all very much. Best of luck. And yeah, feel free to send in any other questions, book a dietitian consultation, and we look forward to hearing from you or seeing you online next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Pleasure.